Caitlin Clark joined Sunday Night Basketball for 2 NBA games. Caitlin Clark is headed to the NBA, at least for a couple of nights. NBC announced Tuesday that Clark, the Indiana Fever star with an enormous following within the game, is joining the network's pregame coverage for its debut of Sunday.
Just when everyone thought the Caitlin Clark phenomenon had hit its peak. Just when people assumed she was finally taking a breather before the WNBA season. NBC stepped in and dropped an absolute bombshell that has shaken the entire sports world to its core. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into a move so massive, so unprecedented, that it officially cements Caitlin Clark as one of the most influential figures in modern basketball. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation. This is confirmed. Caitlin Clark is officially crossing over into the NBA. No, not as a player, but as the new face of NBC's monumental relaunch of Basketball Night in America. This is historic. Think about it. NBC is bringing the NBA back after decades. They already had the nostalgia, the legendary round ball rock, and a nationwide fan base waiting. But they needed something fresh, something electric, someone who could connect Michael Jordan's generation to the next generation. And who did they choose? Not LeBron, not Curry, not KD. They picked the 22-year-old phenom from Iowa who has completely rewritten the rules of women's basketball, shattered viewership records, and taken the entire sports industry by storm. Caitlin Clark isn't just the biggest name in women's basketball. She's becoming one of the most powerful brands in all of sports.
Madison Square Garden. The debut. They picked her to kick it off. Not, yeah, it'll do a couple weeks and then you'll come in. No. We need you to launch this thing, dude. We need you to kick this off. See?
Let's break this down, because the details are absolutely insane. Caitlin Clark will make her official NBC debut on February 1st, right before the Lakers versus Knicks matchup at Madison Square Garden. Think about that for a second. You literally cannot choose a bigger stage. The Mecca of basketball, LeBron James, the New York spotlight, and Caitlin Clark on the mic. This is not a debut. This is a statement. And it gets even crazier. She's joining a studio crew filled with straight-up basketball royalty. Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, 3 Hall of Fame scorers, 3 icons, 3 players who shaped entire eras of NBA basketball. And sitting right beside them is Caitlin Clark, breaking down plays, analyzing the game, and showcasing her basketball mind to millions. If you want to talk about respect, this is the highest level. Now, let's be honest. NBC didn't bring her on just because she's likable. They brought her on because she is a ratings monster. Remember when NBC put her college game behind a paywall on Peacock? People still subscribed in droves just to watch her. The Caitlin Clark effect is so real that NBC is literally using her star power to help launch their most expensive and most important sports property, the NBA's return to the network. That tells you exactly where she stands in the sports hierarchy right now. Caitlin Clark is not just a WNBA athlete. She is a global brand. But here's where it gets even more strategic. Look at the dates. February 1st, March 29th, Knicks versus Thunder. These are intentional. February is right before the All-Star break. March is right before the WNBA season heats up. These appearances keep her in the spotlight. They keep the Indiana Fever brand alive. And they ensure Caitlin Clark stays at the center of the conversation, even in the off-season. And yes, we have to talk about the possible WNBA lockout. If the 2026 season gets delayed, which insiders are already predicting, this NBC role could grow even bigger. Caitlin could end up becoming a weekly presence on national TV, turning into the face of basketball programming while the league negotiates. That's not just smart, that's genius long-term positioning. Now picture the on-air chemistry for a second. Vince Carter, the greatest dunker ever. T-Mac, one of the smoothest scorers of all time. Melo, the mid-range king. And Caitlin Clark, the queen of the logo 3. The conversations about scoring, spacing, decision-making, defensive reads. This is going to be basketball heaven. And the viral moments? Already guaranteed. Caitlin asking Melo about his jab step. Vince asking her about her shooting range. T-Mac breaking down her IQ. And all of them treating her as a peer, as an equal in basketball understanding. Moments like that don't just make great television. They elevate the perception of the women's game on a national stage. This isn't just a job for Caitlin Clark. This is a power move, a crossover moment, a cultural shift, and it's only the beginning.
Tease about what might be coming during Clark's debut appearance. We're hoping to have Caitlin with a basketball in her hand. That's not a tease. That's not a tease. You're not teasing the shoe, right? You're not.
Just when you thought this story couldn't get any bigger, it actually does. Producer Sam Flood just dropped a massive hint, and it instantly sent the internet into meltdown. He said they hope to have Caitlin with a basketball in her hand on set. Now pause. Think what that means. Are we about to get a shooting contest between Caitlin and Reggie Miller if he makes an appearance? Are we about to see Caitlin breaking down her own shooting mechanics live on NBC? Or, and this is the theory taking over the entire internet, is NBC planning to unveil her signature Nike shoe right there on national television? Nike has been suspiciously quiet about the release. And what better place to debut the most hyped basketball shoe of the year than at Madison Square Garden? During a national NBA broadcast, with millions watching? That would be the ultimate marketing power play. Now, critics will say, she's too young. She doesn't have the experience. But the reality? Caitlin Clark has been in front of cameras her entire life. She went on a Manning-cast-style broadcast during the Final Four, and she was phenomenal. She hopped into the Yankees broadcast booth and felt completely at home. She's natural, she's funny, she's sharp, and her basketball IQ is on another level. She sees the game differently, the spacing, the angles, the passing lanes, things most people can't even process in real time. Bringing that kind of mind to NBA television is fresh, it's exciting, and exactly what NBC needs to separate itself from the predictable, robotic analysis we hear on other networks. And this move does something even bigger. It bridges the gap between the NBA and the WNBA in a way we've never seen. For decades, those leagues have felt like separate worlds. But having the face of the WNBA analyzing NBA games sends a message. If you respect her basketball mind, you should respect her game, too. This is cross-promotion at its finest, and it's going to pay off massively. WNBA viewership is already exploding. But this kind of exposure to casual NBA fans on Sunday nights? That could push the league into a completely new stratosphere by the time the season starts. And let's not forget the business side for Caitlin herself. She's already partnered with Xfinity, owned by Comcast, the parent company of NBC. So this connection was always going to happen. What's shocking is how fast it happened. She's 22 years old, already maximizing her earning power, building a media resume, and setting herself up for a post-playing career decades before most athletes even think about it. This is business genius. So what can we expect on February 1st? High energy, elite basketball breakdowns, and NBC treating Caitlin Clark like absolute royalty. They're not bringing her on to sit quietly in the background. They're putting her front and center, breaking down the Lakers' offense, analyzing LeBron's passing reads, evaluating Jalen Brunson's footwork. And honestly, it's going to be must-watch TV. She plays the exact style of basketball today's NBA is built on: pace, spacing, threes, shot creation. She's the perfect analyst for the modern game. Plus, let's keep it real. NBA pre-game shows get stale. A lot of back-in-my-day talk. A lot of slow energy. Caitlin brings youth. She brings swagger. She brings relevance. She speaks the language of the younger generation, and NBC knows she's the cheat code if they want to capture the TikTok audience. In the end, this move is a triple win. A massive win for NBC, a massive win for the NBA, and an even bigger win for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. February 1st is going to be historic. Mark it down, because basketball night in America just became must-see television. And this feels like only the beginning of Caitlin Clark's takeover of sports media. Tell me in the comments. Are you watching just to see Caitlin? And do you think she might actually outshine the Hall of Famers sitting next to her? I wouldn't be surprised. Make sure to like and subscribe, because this story is only getting bigger.